night. Shalom. I'm the brother Markal. But first and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakakodosh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and knock them out there that are pushing this truth when nothing but sincerity. In the name of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai. Starting from the tribe of Judah all the way down to Issachar. And if I didn't say double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, the true man where we learned this truth from. Apostle Tahar called this year your apostates and sellouts, false prophets though, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them out there, You see these Israelite leaders and shit having fitted caps and shit and preaching the word, when in the scriptures, it talks about, you dishonor your head though, you dishonor yourself when, what's it called though? You dishonor yourself though when you have when you cover your head though, tells you that in the book of Corinthians. So therefore, it's a disgrace. So the thing about it though is, and the brother from Saints of Jersey had just did a video actually today about that dude though. He was wearing pajama pants though, and he got kicked out though. And goes to show, man, that dude was always in that spirit though of comfort and shit, of doing what he wanted though. Because if dude got kicked out though, right, you would think though that he would do his best to, to teach the word and do it diligently and things like that. But here he is making a video with the fitted cap on though, So it goes to show, a lot of so-called brothers ain't in the spirit though, of Yahweh Shem Shai. So, that's the thing though. And I'm glad that Apostle Tahar called this year that year the sellouts and false prophets though, because it said in what was it in? So I'm just going with the spirit though, Matthew 24, I believe is 11. Yeah. This is Matthew 24 and 11. It says, "And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many." Yeah, so we're in those times right now, because you got Bishop Nathaniel, you got General Yohana, you got, Alazar is not that no more, but you got the Deacon Hakah and the Hazad. You got these other Israelite leaders though that all they're doing, is just leading the flock to the slaughterhouse, not even teaching you the right doctrine no more, You got the Genesis, which is Deacon Hakah, and the other nigga, well, I don't even think he's a Jake though, but anyways, saying that the Gentiles now can be saved though. But never in the scriptures it talks about the salvation for the natural Gentiles though, Yeah, the Israelite foreigners, yeah, salvation for them, but they have to be of the elect too though, There's a lot of Israelite foreigners though, but just because they're, if they're Israelite foreigners, doesn't make them of the elect though, But there is going to be Israelite foreigners that are going to be around the world though. You know what I'm saying though? Because even the same scripture it talks about that, about them getting beamed up to the chariot, because it's in the same chapter right here where it talks about that. Let me see. It talks about the in Matthew 24 and 24 it says, it says, "For there shall rise false Mashiachs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if they were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." Which they're not going to deceive the elect though, because the elect's going to know the truth though, So there's a lot of apostates, right now and things like that though. You know what I'm saying though? So they about to get found out though, through the real men of the Lord though, which truly believe is Great Millstone, though, you know? So it makes sense, though, you know, it's Great Millstone because they got the structure, though, you know? Like I was just saying earlier about the dude with the pajama pants and things like that, though. It's like, why would you wear pajama pants, though? You know what I mean, though? Like, cause to me, it's like, nigga, just got out of bed and just went straight to camp like that. Like, nigga, like, you could at least put some sweatpants, though, you know? Like, even with sweatpants, but, cause, I mean, but it's still better than pajama pants, though, you know what I mean, though? And if the apostles put an order out there saying, hey, no more sweatpants, though, now you gotta, you know what I mean, like, wear jeans, though, man, or, you know, there's no more sweatpants, then I'll be like, right, well, that's fine, though. I don't have to be wearing sweatpants either, though, you know? So I would just wear jeans, though. So to me, it wouldn't be no issue, though. You know what I'm saying, though? But the fact that is that it's like pajama pants is more of a cozy at home, though, you know, with the slippers. Like, you wouldn't wear your pajama slippers to camp, right? Why would you? You know what I mean? So, because, you know, pajama pants are part of them slippers, though. Like, the outfit of that shit, though. You know what I mean, though? So it's like, it just, you know what I mean? It's just off, though, you know? It's off. So, now I want to get to Deuteronomy 13, though. And, yeah, I'll get Deuteronomy 13 and 4, right? So it says, you should walk after the Most High your power and fear him, and keep his commandments and obey his voice, and you shall serve him and cleave unto him. So, you know, if you're fearing the Most High, you're going to be out there preaching the word, though. You know what I mean? You're not going to be, you know what I'm saying, not doing the work, though. If doing the work through the making the videos and things like that, that's still doing the work, though. You know what I'm saying, though? But you're not going to take, like the other joker, take 3 months off, though, and then consider go back, though. But you're taking 3 months off because of a job that you want. You know what I'm saying, though? You can't be doing that. You know what I'm saying? So there's structure, though, man. So anyways, that it says, obey his voice, and you shall serve him and cleave unto him, you know, and join to him, right? And 5, it says, and that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he has spoken to turn you away from the Most High your power, which brought you out of the land of Egypt. But who are they talking about? Who are they talking about? The Israelites. And redeem you out of the house of bondage, to thrust thee out of the way which the Most High thy power commanded thee to walk in. So shalt thou put the evil away from the midst of thee. See? So this is just talking about the Israelites, though, right? Us Israelites, though. So the thing about it, though, is if there's a prophet, though, that's making you go away from the truth, though, power, by saying also, too, oh, we don't know his name, though, which is stupid, though, right? Because his name is Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Yahushai, ignorantly called Jesus, and Yahweh, which is the true name of the power, Most High, which you ignorantly call just God, though, you know? So if, you know, say you should put you to death, though. So if there's these prophets, though, that can say they're prophets, though, if they're not speaking the true word, though, they need to be put to death, though. You know what I'm saying, though? But you see, the thing about it, though, is we're not, what's it called? Like, you know, we can't, in this society, we're not able to do that, though, you know? Take things to our own hands, though, because, you know, you see a mo, which is a fruitcake, you know, in scriptures, you know, the Old Testament especially, it says that, you know, you're supposed to stone them to death, though. You know, an adulterous woman and man, you're supposed to stone them to death, though. But like I said, though, in this society, we can't do that, though. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be put in prison for life, though, you know, or we're going to be serving a lot of time, though, you know, depending on what the judge gives you, though. But we know damn well if we do that, we'll get sent to prison, though, you know. So we can't do that, though, you know, in this society, in this time, though. So it's the same thing with the, you know, like someone that is a false prophet, though. We can't just stone dude to death, though, because he's spreading nonsense, though, you know. So the thing about it, though, is that we just gotta sit back and let the Most High handle business, though, you know. I mean, he handled business with that guy, Prince of Power, though. So his ass got put to death, though. You know what I'm saying, though? So we didn't have to do nothing. We didn't have to get physical or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying, though? He was going up against the apostle, though. So look what happened with dude, though. You know, that started off, you know. So I can't imagine this year how it's gonna go on, you know. So you know, that's the thing about it, though. So, anyways, when it comes down to a false prophet, it says you get put shall be put to death, though. You know, he needs to be put to death, though. But the thing about it, though, is like we can't do that. We can't take matters to our own hands, though. So we let Yahweh Hashem Shai, because he said, you know, he's the vengeance, though, man. You know what I'm saying, though? He's your vengeance, though. So we're okay with that, you know. And in the scripture, it talks about these false prophets and things like that. You know what I'm saying, though? So the thing about it, though, is let me get Ezekiel. I believe Ezekiel 13. Yeah. There's Ezekiel 13 and 2. It says, Son of man, prophesy against the prophets of Israel that prophesy, and say thou unto them that prophesy out of their own hearts, hear ye the word of the Most High. Thus saith the Lord power, woe unto the foolish prophets that follow their own spirit and have seen nothing. See? So we're supposed to be putting them on blast, though, and letting them know, hey, you're going off, though. Going back to the faded hat, though, the name, not saying the name, you know what I'm saying, though, and things like that. Because it says, thus said Lord power, woe unto the foolish prophets that follow their own spirit and have seen nothing, though. You see? And that's the thing about it, though, man. So where in the scriptures does it say, though, about you wearing a fitted hat, though? It doesn't say that in the scriptures. And anything, it talks against about that in the book of the Maccabees, though. You know, that priest Jason, though, you know? Where it started, though. You know what I'm saying, though? So I don't understand why you can't just take that fucking stupid hat off and just make a video or do a camp, though. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people, you know? So that's why I understand why Great Millstone is hated on by so many other camps, though. Because Great Millstone is the one that rebukes, though, man. You know what I'm saying, though? So I understand, though, why hated, though. Why they hate GMS so much, though. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't like to take rebuke, though. You know what I'm saying, though? So it says, Ezekiel 13 and 4, it says, O Israel, thy prophets are like foxes in the deserts. You know, like sneaky, though, you know? You have not gone up into the gaps, neither made up the hedge for the house of Israel to stand in the battle on the day of the Most High. See? So you're not building up these, you're not building up the brothers, though. You know what I mean? You're not building them up, though. You're making them build their house on sand instead of rock, which is Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying, though? Here is, I seen a picture of, I believe it was Bishop Nathaniel, looking like he's on some property, though, that he probably owns, or they own. He comfortable. You know what I'm saying, though? America ain't gonna get destroyed. Even though he said it, though, one time. I heard him say it, though. But here you are, having acres in Atlanta, trying to build a community of black, community and shit. You see what I'm saying? So that doesn't make sense. So just for Bishop Nathaniel says, you have not gone up into the gaps, neither made up the hedge for the house of Israel to stand in the battle on the day of the Lord. See? And that's the thing about it. You're not building up. You're making them go away by telling them, using the word that his name is Jesus and just God, though. You see? You're not making them build up for the day of the battle, though. Because you're still telling your congregation to call in the name of Jesus, though. You know what I'm saying, though? So you're off, man. So at 6, it says, they have seen vanity and lying divination, saying, the Most High said, and the Most High has sent not them. They have made others to hope that they will confirm the word. See? And, you know, IUIC, they got a big number of congregation, you know? And all those fucking, you know, brothers, so-called, or not brothers, but like members, though, they hope that they will confirm the word. But the Most High never, you know, Bishop Nathaniel doesn't have the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai. He might have had it, but not. You know what I'm saying, though? Yo, I never did, though. You know what I'm saying? He was just that sneaky fox, though, in the desert, them hoes, man. You see? And that's the thing about it, though, man. So, he said, and I believe it, that it was like on a talk show host or a radio host, whatever. He told them that America was gonna get destroyed though. He was gonna get burnt though. I remember him saying that shit a couple years back though, man. You know what I'm saying though? Now he's up in Atlanta somewhere though with acres though. So that shit makes him a hypocrite though, man. You see what I'm saying though? Talking about captains and bishops and all that though right there that he has though. You know, so that dude is off though, man. Dude is off. And, you know, like I said, the result for a false prophet is death though, man. You know what I'm saying though? So let's go into Jeremiah 23. It says, woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Most High. Therefore, thus saith the Most High Power of Israel against thy pastors that feed my people, you have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have now visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you on the evil of your doing, saith the Most High. See? So because he has scattered the people, it says he's going to visit you. And you don't want to get visited by Yahweh Shema Shai, because he just visited Prince of Power though, and look what happened with Dude though. So the fact that you having a lot of Israelites go off though, man, you got a lot of blood in your hands though, man. So that's the thing, because at 3 it says, I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries, whither I have driven them, and will be bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. See? And this is the last days, because on 6 it says, in his days Judah shall be safe, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name, whereby he shall be called the Lord our righteousness. You see? So it's future prophecy that's going to happen though, you know? And that's the thing though, man. So the death for a false prophet though, we understand though, you know what I'm saying though? Because it tells you in the scriptures, Deuteronomy the 4th chapter, or I believe the 6th though. I believe it's 6. Diminish the word. Oh yeah, here it is. Deuteronomy 4 and 2 it says, you shall not add into the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish out from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Most High your power, which I command you. You see? You should not add on to the word or take away though. You see what I'm saying though? Because you do that, the Most High ain't dealing with you. You see? So that's the thing about it though, man. So you can't add on to the word though. You know what I'm saying? Or take away. It has to be pure though. You know what I'm saying though? And the thing about it though is these false prophets start taking the word away, start getting them diminished though, by like what Genesis did with that whole what's it called? The Gentiles could be saved. They're adding on though. You know what I'm saying though? They're adding on. You know what I'm saying though? Never said the Gentiles will never be saved though. You know, Apostle Paul has said that Esau was a profane man. You know what I'm saying though? He's a profane man. You know? In the book of Amos, the 1st chapter, it goes into all the judgment of these different nations though. You know what I'm saying though? You go into the book of Amos, the 1st chapter, you know, like I said, it goes into the judgment of all these different nations though. You know? And I'll get Deuteronomy 23, I believe, 23 and 7. Oh no, 23, 7. Well, I'll get the 1st chapter actually. Deuteronomy 23 and 1, it says, he that is wounded in the stones, or has his private member cut off, shall not enter into the congregation of the Most High. So, you know, your wounded, your stones, your balls, and your, you know what, cut off though. You know what I'm saying though? And a lot of motherfuckers that are trans though, you know, they want to be women though, they're men and want to be women, they get their shit cut off though. So there ain't no, there's no congregation, not gonna enter into the congregation of the Most High because of the fact that they did that. You know what I'm saying? the Most High gave you something and then you just take it off though? It says, a bastard should not enter into the congregation of the Most High, even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Most High. See, even to the 10th generation though, you just can't, you know? Any Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Most High, even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of the Most High forever. See, forever, that's forever, long time, forever. So the Ammonite is the Japanese and the Moabite is the Chinese. So these two nations are not going to enter. You see what I'm saying though? So then you look into the book of Psalms, the 83 chapter, talk about the nations that went up against Israel. You see what I'm saying though? So these nations always hated us though. You know what I'm saying though? These nations always hated us. You know? And also, there was always wicked Israelites. In the time, whatever captivity that we were in though, there was always some wicked ass Israelites too in the mix though. You know what I'm saying though? In the time of, you know, the Greek captivity, you know, it tells you in the first chapter, the first chapter though, how wicked men out of Israel came out though. You know, the what's his name though? What the hell was his name with the K? Tried to go up against Moses in the book of Numbers, the 15th chapter. Him and his family and his congregation of people that he was with though got swallowed up by the earth. You know what I'm saying though? So all these, you know, so all these fucking well, not fucking though, but all these stories though about, you know what I'm saying, people bucking up to the real true man. Look what happened to them. You know what I'm saying though? So it's nothing new under the sun. Look at all those what's it called though? Those Baal worshippers though, Baal prophets though, went up against Elijah, and Elijah, you know, made the actual fire come down though, and he was just cracking jokes and telling, hey, you know, these Baal prophets were like so pissed off they started cutting themselves and shit, you know. So at the end of the day though, the true word is gonna be it's gonna come out though, man. You know what I'm saying though? The true word is gonna actually come out though. You're gonna see who's the real and who's the fake though. You know what I'm saying? Because even in Matthew's the 13th chapter, when it talks about the angel's gonna separate you know what? Let me get Matthew's. Was it 25? It talks about separate the goat and the sheep. Yeah, here it is. Matthew's 25 and 32, it says, well, you know what, let me get 31. When the Son of Man, which is Yahweh Shai, right, shall come in his glory, which is the chariot, the fathership, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall he be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. So you don't want to be that goat that's going to be on his left, you know. So there you go, you know. So he's going to separate from the sheep from the goat. You know what I'm saying though? The elect though, the 2 and the 1/3, and the goats, it's going to be the other nations and the 2/3, you know. So you don't want to be in that. You want to be on his right hand though. You know what I'm saying though? So that's the thing about it though. When it comes down to it though, you know what I'm saying though, there's gonna be a separation as in who had the true word and who was a phony though. You know what I'm saying though? Because I believe a lot of these Israelite leaders, they know the truth though, but they just choose not to teach it correctly though, because either they got paid or, you know, in reality they're reprobates. You know what I mean? They got that reprobate spirit in them though. You know, that the Most High gave them. And you know what? And a lot of you know, so-called brothers, they don't like to get checked though, man, or they don't like to get told what to do. They don't like to you know what I'm saying though, that they like to be in that spirit of rebellion though. You can't tell me what to do, spirit though. But it's like Look, man, if they're telling you, it's for your own good, though. You know what I'm saying, though? There's been times with the Octo had told me, certain things, though, but it wasn't like a chastising. It was more like a looking out, like, oh, bro, this, this and this and that. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying, though? I didn't buckle up against the brother, though. So it was just little simple things, though, that I know if, like, it could lead to other bigger things, though, if I were to push it there. But it's like, what for what? You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason, though. You know what I'm saying? The brother just, and I know he says it out of his heart, though. He would have told me, like, oh, this and this and that. I'm like, oh, okay. So, you know what I mean? I didn't get that all offensive and shit, though, man. You know what I'm saying, though? And that's the wrong spirit to be in, though. I'm so offended spirit, which I made a camp about that. You know what I mean, though? So, that's the thing, man. So, there's going to be a time where you're going to be tested, though, And you're going to see who's the real and who's the fake, though. When it comes down to it, though, because, in First Peter 4:17, I'll read it, though. It says, for the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God, and it first begun at us, what shall the end of them that obey not the gospel of God? See? So this, that are in the truth, though, or, judgment began in the house of God. So it's the people that know they're Israelites, though. You know what I'm saying, though? Because the fact that you're an Israelite, though, so therefore the judgment, if you're not teaching the word, though, judgment will come upon you, though. You know what I'm saying, though? And that's a scary thing, though. To, you know what I'm saying, though? To be teaching something that you're not supposed to, though, and you're not in that correct spirit of, you know what I'm saying, teaching the right doctrine, though. Teaching is something else, though. You know what I'm saying, though? Because of that, man, you're actually get judged for that, though, man. That's a scary thing. To think, man, that you know what I'm saying, though? Because even, like, Paul, right? Like, Paul, before he came into, you know what I mean? Before Yahweh Shai dealt with him, he truly thought him persecuting the churches and things like that, he really thought that he was doing the right thing. And that's the thing about it, though. He really thought that he was doing the right thing when he was persecuting the churches and things like that. You know what I'm saying, though? But then he also had to suffer when he was teaching Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying, though? He was suffering still, too. Even he had a thorn in the side, though. Could have been infirmity. We didn't know exactly what it was, though. You know what I'm saying, though? He had a thorn in the side, though. But the fact that, you know what I'm saying, like, he was out there believing that he was teaching the truth, though, persecuting the churches, though, things like that. That's a scary thing, though, because you could be in that mindset and that spirit, though, where you think you're teaching, though, and you're actually not, though, and you get judged for that, though. You know what I'm saying, though? So it's the grace of the Lord, though, to have you on point, though, to be on the right Israelite camp, though. You know what I'm saying, though? Because when I came to the truth, I didn't know there was so many. I thought all Israel was the same, All Israelite camps were the same, though, but they weren't. Now I'm glad that the Akim had are still learning from Great Millstone, though, and told me, hey, this is the camp to follow, though, and told me, though. And I'm like, oh, okay. Man, I thought all Israelite camps were the same. But they weren't, though. They weren't, So I just didn't understand, though. But now, being in the truth, though, like, I understand why there's a difference between these other different camps, though. Man, I remember when they tried that, what they call it, though? The United, not Israel United, when they unite different camps, though, they end up getting into a fight, though. Because what do you think, though, man? This guy's speaking something, and then this guy's speaking something different, though. You know what I'm saying, though? So in the scriptures, it talks about sound doctrine, though. You gotta have that sound doctrine. You know what I'm saying, though? And that right doctrine, though. You know what I mean? So that's the thing about it, though, man. So, let me get a Revelation 22, and when it talks about let them be filthy. No, let me get this one real quick. Revelation 22:14, it says, Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life. It's knowledge, though, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without our dogs, the nations, though, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. See? So maketh a lie. So that's the thing about it, though. That's the thing about it, though, man. You will hear, a liar being a liar, though, saying, I didn't say that, or I didn't do this, I didn't do that, which sounds like Bishop Nathaniel. You, man, are a fucking liar, man. Let me get this last two right here, though, because these are beautiful ones. And it says, For I testify unto every man that heareth the word of prophecy of this book, if any man shall add on to these things, God shall add on to him the plagues that are written in this book. So you know what I'm saying, though? So that's judgment, though. Either by the missiles, by a pestilence, by a beast, though, by anything, man, And if any man shall take away from the words of this book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city from the things which are written in the book. You're not gonna make it into the kingdom, though. You take the words out of this book, though, which is the prophecy and things like that. The Gentiles being saved, that's not a prophecy right there, man. So you're adding, though. So you're gonna get a plague from Yahweh Shema Shai, though, man, if you do so. So it's just that simple, man. You know what I'm saying, though? So, and that's the thing, man. So you gotta be careful of who you're listening to and things like that, though, because they might sound like, oh, they got the truth, though, and they got the knowledge, though. But, let me get this one, Matthew 7 and, what was it, though, in sheep clothing? Yeah, there you go. Here it is. Matthew 7 and 15, it says, Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are raving wolves. See? And that's these false prophets, though, man. Yeah, they may all look good and might speak like all good and everything like that, but inside, man, they're raving wolves, man. You know what I'm saying, though? These ain't the men of the Lord, though. You see what I'm saying, though? So they might look good, IUIC with the garments and things like that, though. But them niggas are nothing but raving wolves, man. With sheep clothing, man. They might look like they're all that, but nah, they don't got it, though, man. IUIC, Bishop Nathaniel, they don't got it, though, man. So with that, I want to just make this video, though. And I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rukal Kodash. And double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone. So with that, I want to say Shalom.